It's already done. The relationship everybody was begging to survive just got buried by the very man who claimed he loved her. And the worst part? He didn't say a word. He let the bookshelf do it. Y'all, by the time the internet realized what they were really staring at, it was too late. The post was already up. The receipts were already filed. The trap was already set. And Stefon Diggs, he just smiled, scrolled, and dropped the second slide. Okay, you guys, listen, because this is not the soft launch redemption tour the bird flu girls are out here selling. This is a confession. A whole, gift-wrapped, hardcover, color-coordinated confession. And the saddest part of the entire situation is that Cardi B, one of the most forgiving women in this industry, a young mother of 4, 2 of them under the age of 2, is the only person in the room not allowed to see it. So let me tell you what really just happened. Because the streets caught it. The receipts caught it. And the burner account? Oh baby, the burner account sang like it was auditioning for a Grammy. Now before we even get into the slideshow, the camo jeggings, the pink crocodile print bag, and the seductive little stomach reveal that had Twitter wheezing, let me set the stage. Because context is everything, and right now Stefon Diggs is being marketed to you as a man doing the work. That's the narrative. That's the pitch. Look, he reads now. Look, he meditates. Look, he's quoting Maury. And the Avon Flu girls, the Bird Flu girls, the entire emotionally captured fan base of Cardi B is eating it up with a long spoon. But baby, this is the same man who, allegedly, had multiple women pregnant at the same time and then, and I am not making this up, invited all of them over for Christmas. All of them. Except one. The famous one. The one who carries his son. The one who's standing on stages selling out arenas while he's at home arranging baby mamas around a tree like ornaments. That's not a man working on himself. That's a man working on his rotation. And now we're supposed to believe that a stack of self-help books on a glass shelf is supposed to erase all of that? Y'all, I'm not buying it. And after you see what I'm about to break down, you won't be buying it either. Let's get into the post. Because this is where it gets diabolical. Stefon Diggs uploads what he tells the world is a Pride Month tribute. And listen, I have no issue with pride. None. Love is love. Live in your truth. Whatever your truth is, I support it. The problem is not the rainbow. The problem is the choreography. Because this man, a 6-foot-tall NFL wide receiver, a Super Bowl-cursed patriot under Robert Kraft's roof, decides to pose in a crop top that alluringly shows just a sliver of stomach, in camouflage bootcut jeans that every baddie in the DMV owns, holding a pink crocodile print handbag that costs more than my rent. Tell me that's not a baddie pose. Tell me. I dare anybody in the comments to look at that picture and tell me that is not a full-on Instagram baddie audition. I said it before, and I'll say it again. If Stefon wasn't out here playing women, he would be the man holding all the purses in the club while the girls dance. He has the wrist. He has the angles. He has the bag game. The man understood the assignment of a baddie better than half the IG models with link in bios. And the caption, the caption is where the manipulation begins. One day at a time, trying to keep things as simple as possible. Simple. Simple? Sir, there is nothing simple about this rollout. This is the most calculated, focus-grouped, psychologically engineered Instagram post a Sunday afternoon football player has ever produced. And we're going to prove it. Because here's what nobody zoomed in on. Behind him. On the shelf. The books. Y'all, the books. I want you to picture this with me. A man trying to convince the world he's in his healing era arranges 5 books in perfect view of the camera. 5. Not 1. 5. And every single one of them, when you really study what they teach, is a chapter from the same playbook. A manipulator's playbook. And that's not me being dramatic. I literally called a relationship therapist after I saw this post, because I needed to know if I was reading too deep. And what she said chilled me. She said, "Sis, you're not reading too deep. You're finally reading on time. Let me walk you through the shelf. Slowly. Because this part deserves a deep dive. Book number 1, The Art of War. Or, as it appears in some shots, The 33 Strategies of War. Robert Greene. Sun Tzu. Take your pick. Both are the unofficial Bible of every manipulator who ever walked the earth. This is not a self-help book. This is a battlefield manual. The death ground strategy. The controlled unpredictability. Attacking the flank instead of the front. Manufacturing urgency in your opponent. Keeping them guessing. Never confronting head-on so they can never get a clean read on you. Now apply that to a relationship, to a woman who already has a history of being mentally broken by a man she loved, and tell me that book belongs on the shelf of someone trying to keep things simple. It doesn't. It belongs on the shelf of someone running a campaign. Book number 2, Emotional Intelligence 2.0. Now, on the surface, that sounds beautiful. Self-regulation, empathy, reading the room. But the therapist I spoke to said something that made my stomach drop. She said, emotional intelligence in the hands of a healed man is connection. In the hands of a manipulator, it's targeting data. Read that again. Targeting data. Meaning, when you cry to him about your insecurities, he isn't listening to comfort you, he's listening to map you. He's logging your soft spots. He's filing your triggers. So that the next time he wants to win an argument, or pull you back, or shake you loose from a moment of clarity, he knows exactly which button to press. That's not therapy. That's reconnaissance. Book number 3, Tuesdays with Maury. The sentimental one. The one that makes everybody who reads it cry on a plane. Beautiful book. Real lessons. But the therapist warned, in the wrong hands, this becomes ammunition. Quoting deathbed wisdom at random moments to make her cry. Pulling out a Maury line during a fight to flip the energy from "you hurt me" to "but life is so short, baby, we have to cherish each other." Tug at the heart. Reset the room. Avoid accountability. That's the move. Book number 4, Good Vibes, Good Life. The Raise Your Vibration, Manifest Your Glow Up. I Am at Peace Now book. Which is fine until you weaponize it. Until I've changed, I'm at peace now, I'm aligned with the universe, becomes the bait. The performance glow up. Not a real transformation, a staged one. One designed to be photographed, captioned, and used as evidence in the court of public opinion when she's thinking about leaving. Look at him healing. Look at him praying. Look at him reading. All while the burner account stays loaded. And book number 5, the one tucked in the back corner, like he didn't want you to notice it, The Book of Joy, by the Dalai Lama. Y'all, the Dalai Lama. Now he's a spiritual scholar? Sir, please. The man has multiple paternity rumors and a chef-related court case open, and now he's communing with his holiness? Nah. That book is there for one reason and one reason only, so he can say, I've done the inner work, baby. I sat with his holiness. I am not the man I used to be. It's the spiritual finishing move. The empath trap headshot. 5 books. 5 weapons. And every single one positioned in plain sight, like a magician showing you the trick before he does the trick. That's not healing. That's foreshadowing. But here's where it stops being theory and starts being evidence. Because Stefon, in his arrogance, couldn't even let the post breathe for 24 hours. The minute people online started melting and going, look at him, he's trying so hard, he's growing for Cardi, the man got insulted. He got offended. His ego could not survive being framed as soft. He had to step out and remind everybody quietly, on the burner, that the demon was still very much driving the car. So he goes to his Finsta. Yes, his fan-favorite, secret account, alter ego Finsta. And he posts, and I want you to read this with me like we're in a courtroom together. I'm the type to know something bothers you and intentionally try to make it worse. With the laughing emojis. The crying laughing emojis. The whole thing. Posted within hours of the I'm Healing Pride Month slideshow. Now match that to what the therapist told me earlier. What did she say a manipulator's core skill was? Spotting exactly what someone is feeling. Staying cool while they press on it. Empathy as targeting data, not connection. And what did Stefon literally type out in his own words on his own private account? I know it bothers you. I'll do it on purpose. And I'll laugh. That, my friends, is not a leak. That is a confession. That is the playbook with the front cover ripped off and tossed onto your timeline. And he was so amused with himself that he posted it next to a second slide of him, once again, seductively pulling down the camo waistband to flash that little baddie stomach. As if to say, yeah, I'm playing her. And I'm cute while I do it. And the demonic part, and I mean this with my whole chest, is that he didn't even hide it. He told you. He posted the playbook on Tuesday and the rulebook on Wednesday, and then said one day at a time on Thursday like nothing happened. Now let me pause here because I know some of y'all are typing right now. But maybe he really is changing. Maybe he meant the books for himself. Okay, let's entertain that. Let's give the man the most generous interpretation possible. Let's say he genuinely is sitting on a velvet couch every morning sipping matcha with the art of war in his lap, doing self-work. Cute. Beautiful. I love that journey for him. Then explain the burner post. Explain it. In a world where Stefon Diggs is genuinely transforming, the burner account would say something like, "Working on me," or "Grateful for grace," or even just silence. Instead, on the same week, the same 48-hour window, the same algorithm, the same internet, the man types out, verbatim, that he likes hurting people who he knows are already hurting. And he laughs while doing it. You can't reconcile those two posts. You can't. One of them is a lie, and it ain't the one without filters. Now here's where this whole story flips, and I need y'all locked in because this is where the bigger picture lives. Because this is not just a Stefon story. This is a Cardi story. And the question we should be asking, the only question worth asking, is why is she still here? Why is the most forgiving woman in rap, the woman who already lived through a public marriage with Offset, the woman whose breakup with her ex-husband was so brutal that even her toughest fans were begging her to leave? Why is she standing in the rain for round 2 with a man who is openly, publicly, and dare I say cinematically broadcasting his manipulation tactics? Because here's what I think. And take it for what it is. Cardi divorced Offset. Period. She walked away from the father of her children. The father. While she was married. While she was vulnerable. While she was deep in love. Whatever Offset did to her, and I don't think any of us truly know the full scope of it, was bad enough that she chose her peace over her perfectly curated family photo. That's not a small decision. That's a soul decision. And I think Stefon saw that opening. I think he watched a woman in the rawest emotional state of her life, post-divorce, pregnant, or post-baby, juggling a tour, juggling 4 kids, juggling the world's expectations, and he said, why not? Not why not love her? Why not slide in? Why not be the next one? Why not get the W of being the man who pulled Cardi B? Because at the end of the day, and this is the part nobody wants to say out loud, what is the actual difference between Offset and Stefon? Both of them embarrassed her. Both of them have a long list of women. Both of them play the press game. Both of them weaponize sentiment when it's convenient. The only difference is Offset, at least, gave her a marriage. He gave her a ring. He gave her commitment, even if he didn't honor it. Stefon? He hasn't even given her the title. So when he humiliates her, the world is supposed to just shrug, because, well, he never promised her anything in the first place. That's the trap. He set it up that way on purpose. And now we have the Super Bowl context. Y'all remember the Super Bowl. We remember Cardi storming off. We remember the rumors of her dumping him in the middle of the game. We remember the Patriots losing to Robert Kraft's worst nightmare. We remember Pri and Stefon being clocked together. We remember the police report dropping. We remember the hairdresser confession. We remember the alleged $1.2 million Cardi spent on an engagement party that never produced an engagement. We remember the canceled concerts. We remember the silence. And after all of that, after every public humiliation, every leaked DM, every chef rumor, every alleged court appearance, we are now, in 2026, sitting here watching Stefon post a Pride Month slideshow with a Manipulator's bookshelf in the background and a burner account confessing in real time. And the conversation in the comments is, he's trying. Trying what? Trying her patience? Because that's the only thing I see him trying. And here's the little 5% twist that nobody is talking about yet. Stefon recently, within the last week, was asked on camera about Cardi, about where they stand. And do you know what he said? He didn't deny it. He didn't confirm it. He gave that classic, evasive, smirk-laced answer, "We're working through it. We're working through it." That is not a man in love. That is not a man humbled. That is a man who knows the algorithm. Because "we're working through it" is the perfect non-answer. It keeps the speculation alive. It keeps the streams up. It keeps Cardi's tour in the news. It keeps the engagement metrics climbing. It is corporate-grade ambiguity dressed up as vulnerability. And meanwhile, in the background, sources are now whispering, and I cannot confirm this, but the whispers are loud, that Pri and Stefon still talk. That the so-called fight between them online was theater. That the entire Super Bowl breakup arc was, in part, a PR play designed to make Stefon look like a martyr so Cardi would feel guilty enough to take him back. And the timing of this Pride Month post coincidentally lands the exact week the new article about Cardi's tour numbers dropped. Coincidence? Maybe. But baby, in this industry, coincidence is just choreography in cheap clothing. Now let me hit you with the angle nobody else is running with. Because this is where I leave the lane of every other gossip channel. The books on the shelf are not just a manipulator's playbook. The books on the shelf are a hostage note. Hear me out. Hear me out. Every single one of those titles aligns with a specific tactic a person uses when they are trying to keep someone in a relationship who is one decision away from leaving. The Art of War, for when she tries to leave, you flank her. Emotional Intelligence 2.0, for when she cries, you weaponize her tears. Tuesdays with Maury, for when she's tired, you quote death at her until she remembers life is short. Good Vibes, Good Life, for when she's doubting you, you perform peace. The Book of Joy, for when she's spiritually exhausted, you bring in His Holiness as your character witness. That bookshelf is not a vibe. That bookshelf is a 5-step containment strategy. And it was placed in plain sight in a Pride Month post captioned "One day at a time" because the man knew exactly who would zoom in. He knew the gossip girls would zoom in. He knew the body language coaches on TikTok would zoom in. He knew Tisa, B, Ruby, Kiki, Fantastic, all of us would zoom in. And he wanted us to. Because if the streets are debating his shelf, the streets are not debating his criminal case. If the streets are debating his crop top, the streets are not debating his chef. If the streets are debating his Finsta, the streets are not debating his paternity. Misdirection is a weapon, and this man weaponizes our attention the same way magicians do. The trick is not the books. The trick is that you're looking at the books at all. Okay, let me catch my breath, because we still need to talk about the dice photo. Yes, the dice photo. Because in the middle of this Pride Month rollout, this self-care arc, this I'm reading and meditating narrative, he drops a slide of himself playing craps, or dice, or dominoes, whatever you want to call it. And the caption stays the same, one day at a time. Sir, you cannot post a gambling photo and tell us you're keeping things simple. The visual contradiction alone is the message. The message is, I am not simple. I am not safe. I am not in recovery. I am playing. And one of these days, the dice land on her. That's the whole shtick. That's the whole man. And let me tell you something else. Stefon Diggs has a face. He has what I've been calling evil baby face. He has John Legend's face, but where John looks like a permanent angel cherub baby, Stefon looks like the baby that bit the other kids in pre-K. The man has a face that looks suspicious in a yearbook photo. And I'm not saying that to be cruel. I'm saying that because his face is part of the strategy. The baby face disarms women. They look at him and go, ah, he's cute, he can't be that bad. But baby, evil also comes in cute. Evil also comes with a crust smile and a six-pack. Evil is not a Halloween mask. Evil sometimes is a man in a crop top with a self-help book. Now, the spiritual conversation. Because I have to go here. I have to go here for Cardi. Cardi B, if by some miracle the algorithm pushes this little video into your timeline, I want you to hear this. Not because I think I'm above you. Not because my channel is bigger than yours. It absolutely is not. Not because I'm an expert in your life. But because as a woman watching another woman, I have to say it. You do not deserve a man whose love language is intentional damage. You do not deserve a partner who reads The Art of War as a relationship guide. You do not deserve to be the experiment. You do not deserve to be the next chapter in his book. You deserve, simply because you are a child of God, more than demon tier affection. Not because you're rich. Not because you're funny. Not because you have the body, the bags, the awards, the brand deals. Not because of anything external. Just because. Because. And to the bird flu girls in the comments who are going to come in here and say, let them be happy, sis. Happy people don't run a burner account that taunts the person they love. Happy people don't pose with a manipulator's syllabus behind them. Happy people don't post dice next to keeping things simple. Happy people don't humiliate their woman on Tuesday and ask for grace on Thursday. That is not happiness. That is not even love. That is engagement farming wearing a wedding ring it never bought. Now let me circle back to the larger picture, because I want to leave y'all with the part of the story that, in my opinion, has the most weight. The reason this matters beyond Cardi and Stefon is because there is a generation of young women watching this play out in real time. A generation of girls who are going to grow up thinking that public manipulation is romance. That cryptic captions are commitment. That a shelf full of books is the same thing as a partner full of work. And it is not. It is not. It is not. If you take nothing else from this video, take this. Real growth is boring. Real healing is private. Real love does not need a slideshow. The minute a man starts performing his piece on Instagram while running a burner account in the basement of his phone, you are not watching a transformation, you are watching a campaign. And campaigns end the day the votes are counted. Cardi, her votes are coming. Her clarity is coming. Whether it's next month, next quarter, or next album cycle, the moment is on the schedule. And when it lands, when she finally wakes up from this spell, I hope she remembers that the entire internet tried to warn her. Not to embarrass her. Not to gloat. But because we love her. Because the same way she sees herself in every little girl who quotes her songs in the mirror, we see ourselves in her. And we don't want to watch her go through another Offset chapter dressed up as a Stefon rerun. Now, before I sign off, let me give y'all one more thing. One more receipt, because I owe you the full plate. Because remember, this is a deep dive and I don't half-step. Sources close to the situation are saying, and again, take this with a grain of salt, that Stefon's team has been quietly trying to position him as the redeemed boyfriend ahead of the next NFL season. Why? Because he needs the press. Because the Patriots are in a rebuild. Because Robert Kraft is reportedly losing patience with the drama. Because there's a rumored docuseries being shopped around about his journey. And a docuseries sells better with a love story attached than with a pending case attached. So if you're sitting there wondering why he's posting pride content with Manipulator books in the back, why he's giving us "we're working through it" interviews, why he's dropping dice photos and burner posts and seductive stomach reveals all in the same 48-hour cycle, ask yourself this: who benefits from the noise? Because it is not Cardi. Cardi has nothing to gain from this. Stefon, on the other hand, has an entire personal brand pivot riding on it. Y'all, wake up. The whole thing is a campaign. And Cardi is the cover story. But hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Because if you thought I was done, baby, I was just warming up. Because there is a whole second layer to this story that nobody, and I mean nobody, has touched yet. And it has nothing to do with the books. It has nothing to do with the burner. It has nothing to do with the dice. It has to do with the order of operations. Because here's something that's been quietly eating at me. Why now? Why this exact week? Why this exact post? Why the Pride Month framing? Why not last summer? Why not last fall? Why not after the Super Bowl when he was getting publicly clowned by 50 Cent on Twitter? Why didn't this healing era show up then? Why didn't the bookshelf appear when his back was actually against the wall? It only showed up when Cardi started giving interviews that sounded suspiciously final. Read that again. The performance only began when she started speaking like a woman about to leave. That is not healing. That is a hostage negotiation. Think about the chronology with me. Cardi sits down for an interview. She says something soft, but there's a finality to it. We're not going to keep doing this in public kind of energy. Cardi cancels concerts, not because she's not capable, but because she's mentally exhausted. Cardi starts being seen alone more. Cardi posts cryptic captions that don't mention him. The internet starts to clock it. The blogs start to whisper. And suddenly, out of nowhere, Stefon, who has been quiet for weeks, decides this is the perfect time to drop a slideshow with a bookshelf in the background and a vulnerable little, one day at a time. That is not a coincidence. That is a countermove. And every chess player watching this video right now knows exactly what I'm talking about. When the queen starts walking off the board, the king has two choices: surrender or perform devotion. Stefon chose performance. And the performance had to be public, because if he begged her in private, she could ignore it. But if he begs her in public, the whole world becomes his ally. Now the comments work for him. Now the fans guilt trip her for him. Now her own audience becomes his unpaid PR team, saying things like, give him another chance. Look how hard he's trying. And meanwhile, in the back, he's typing, "I know it bothers you. I'll do it on purpose, ha ha ha," into a burner phone like it's stand-up comedy. That is calculated. That is engineered. That is not a man healing, that is a man hunting. And I want to give y'all one more layer, because I know my hardcore tea drinkers are still with me. Let's talk about the styling. Because the wardrobe in that post is not random either. The crop top? Soft. Vulnerable. Inviting. Look, I'm exposing my stomach. I'm exposing myself. I'm being open. The camo? Edgy. Masculine. Don't worry, I'm still rough around the edges. I'm still the guy you fell for. The pink bag? Modern. Liberated. Look how secure I am in my masculinity. Look how evolved I've become. Every single element of that outfit is sending a calibrated emotional signal. Vulnerability, masculinity, evolution, ease. Tell me you don't see it. Tell me you don't see how every piece of clothing in that photo is a paragraph in a love letter aimed at one specific person who happens to be ignoring his texts. He didn't get dressed. He got costumed. And the costume designer was his ego. Now I want to bring in something I've been holding back. Because I had a long conversation this morning with somebody who works adjacent to the celebrity stylist circuit, and they told me something that, if it's true, and I have no way to fully confirm it, but the source has been right before. paints a much darker picture. They told me that this entire aesthetic shift, the soft styling, the books, the one day at a time caption, the pastel grading on the photos, was reportedly developed in collaboration with a brand strategy consultant who specializes in image rehabilitation for athletes with active legal issues. Let me say that again. Image rehabilitation for athletes with active legal issues. Now I cannot tell you 100% that's true. I cannot put my hand on a Bible, but what I can tell you is that the post has every fingerprint of a professionally crafted PR rollout. The lighting is too perfect. The styling is too cohesive. The caption is too calibrated. The bookshelf is too curated. The dice photo is too edge. The burner timing is the only piece that was off script, and even that, you could argue, was deliberate, because controversy is engagement and engagement is leverage. We are not watching a man's life. We are watching a man's marketing plan. And the most heartbreaking part of all of this, the part that keeps replaying in my head, is that Cardi B, bright, brilliant, funny, observant Cardi B, is one of the most media-savvy artists of her generation. She knows the game. She has played the game. She has won the game. So how is she not seeing this? And the only answer I can come up with is the one I keep going back to, because she's not in her head right now. She's in her heart. And when the heart is bleeding, the brain takes a vacation. That's not weakness. That's humanity. That's why this hurts to watch. She is not stupid. She is hurting. And hurting people are the easiest people in the world to manipulate. Every manipulator on planet Earth knows that, including, allegedly, the one with the bookshelf. Now, before we wrap, I want to address a comment I keep seeing from the doubters. Because every time I post something like this, the same 5 comments show up. You're reaching. It's just a post. Mind your business. She's grown. Let them figure it out. And I want to respond to that with one final thought, because it's important. Yes, she is grown. Yes, it is her business. Yes, she can figure it out. But the moment a celebrity posts something publicly, they have invited the public into the conversation. That is the contract. You don't get to live a private life on a public platform. Stefon posted that bookshelf knowing full well that the internet would zoom in. He wanted us to zoom in. So when we zoom in and tell him what we see, that is not us minding other people's business. That is us responding to a public invitation. Period. And to anyone saying I'm being too harsh on him, okay, fair. Let me give the man 1 ounce of grace. Maybe, in some alternate universe, he genuinely is reading those books for the right reasons. Maybe he genuinely is healing. Maybe the burner post was a bad day, a slip-up, a flash of immaturity. Maybe. But here's the thing about grace. Grace is earned with consistency, not curated with captions. And until Stefon shows even 1 ounce of consistency between his main account and his burner, between his interviews and his behavior, between his styling and his actions, he doesn't get the benefit of the doubt. He gets the bookshelf treatment. He gets the receipts. He gets the deep dive. And honestly, after everything Cardi has been through, the divorce, the public humiliation, the late-night studio sessions raising 4 kids, the chef court case, the Super Bowl spectacle, the police report, the canceled shows, she has earned every ounce of skepticism we are throwing at this man. Every single ounce. So no, I am not going to soften it for him. I am going to give it to you straight, because that is what this channel was built on. The streets caught it. The receipts caught it. The bookshelf caught itself. And now, finally, after all the misdirection, we are caught up. Let me also just say, because somebody is going to ask in the comments, yes, I am aware that there have been new rumors floating around in the last week about Cardi being spotted with somebody else at a private event in Miami. I am not going to name names. I am not going to go down that road today. Because today is about the bookshelf. Today is about the burner. Today is about the playbook. But I will say this, if those rumors are true, the timing of Stefon's Pride Month healing post makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? Because nothing accelerates a man's redemption arc faster than the fear that his target is moving on. Nothing. Suddenly the books come out. Suddenly the meditation appears. Suddenly the soft captions land. Suddenly the camo crop top is on. Because the moment she starts looking around, he starts performing harder. That is the cycle. That is the pattern. And until she breaks it, or until he gets caught one too many times, that is the story. I want to leave y'all with one last image, and then I'm out. Because I think this image, more than anything else, sums up the entire energy of this situation. Picture a man standing in front of a perfectly lit shelf, holding a pink crocodile print bag, wearing camo jeggings, with a tiny strip of stomach showing under a cropped top, captioning the moment, "One day at a time," while in the next room over. On a separate phone, on a separate account, he types, "I know it bothers her. I'm going to do it on purpose." Ha ha ha. And while he does that, his Super Bowl ring sits in a drawer he hasn't opened. His chef case sits on a calendar he doesn't want to look at. His baby mamas sit in group chats he ignores. And the woman he claims to love sits on a stage thousands of miles away, singing to a crowd that loves her more than he ever will, wondering if she's wrong for trusting him again. That is the picture. That is the post that didn't make the slideshow. That is the truth behind the caption. And listen, I'm not here to manifest the worst for them. I genuinely, sincerely, hand on my heart hope I am wrong. I hope the bookshelf is real. I hope the healing is real. I hope the love is real. I hope by the time I post the next video, the gossip is Cardi and Stefon are stronger than ever. The haters were wrong. The wedding is on. I hope that. Because nobody, not Cardi, not Stefon, not their son, not any of his other kids, not us, wins when the relationship is a con. Everybody loses, including, eventually, him. But I have to call what I see. And what I see is not love. What I see is a 5-book strategy stacked on a shelf in the background of a costume photo with the Finsta confession running in parallel. And until somebody can explain that to me in a way that makes the manipulation read like sincerity, I'm going to keep saying what I'm saying. Because that's what y'all subscribed for. That's what the receipts demand. So that's it. That's the breakdown. Now you've seen it. Now you know it. Now you can't unsee it. The next time he posts, you're going to zoom in. You're going to look at the background before you look at his face. You're going to read the captions backwards. You're going to check the burner. You're going to clock the timing. And you're going to remember this video, and you're going to nod, and you're going to come right back to the comments and tell me, "Sis, you called it." I'll be here, waiting, with another deep dive. Because Stefon isn't done. Stefon is never done. The man treats his Instagram like a serialized drama and treats his relationships like a writer's room. And as long as he keeps posting, I'll keep reading. Page by page, book by book, burner by burner, until the whole library is exposed. That's the energy. That's the channel. That's the promise. And one more thing before I go, I want every woman watching this video to take one thing away. Not about Stefon. Not about Cardi. About yourself. If you ever look up at the man you're with and notice that his bookshelf has more strategy than his actions, leave. If you ever catch him laughing on a burner about hurting you, leave. If you ever see him style a photo of his healing the same week you started thinking about your peace, leave. Don't argue. Don't explain. Don't give a press conference. Don't post your own slideshow. Just leave. Quietly. Permanently. Without warning. Because the only response a manipulator's playbook cannot answer is silence, followed by absence. They wrote chapters for every move you might make, except the one where you stop being in the book. Be the one who closes the book, not the one who's stuck in it. Talk to me in the comments. Tell me your hottest take. Tell me your softest one. Tell me if you think Cardi walks, stays, marries him, dumps him, or surprises the entire planet by doing something none of us see coming. Because at the end of the day, the only person whose opinion truly matters in this story is hers. Everything else, including this video, is just commentary. Beautiful, dramatic, deep dive commentary. But commentary. Bye for now, y'all. Stay nosy. Stay observant. Stay loving. And whatever you do, please, for the love of God, before you fall for a man with a bookshelf, read the books yourself first. Because the wildest thing about the art of war is that it works just as well on the man holding it. You just have to be the one who actually opens it. One last thing, then I'm gone. I want to address the men who are going to clip this and dunk on Stefon in their group chats. Don't. Because the lesson here isn't look at this clown. The lesson is look at how easy it is to perform growth instead of doing it. Every one of us has stood in a mirror and rehearsed an apology we never planned to keep. Every one of us has staged a moment for an audience instead of for the person we actually owed. That instinct lives in all of us. The only difference between Stefon and the rest of us is that he has millions of people watching the rehearsal in real time. So instead of laughing at him, ask yourself, is there someone in your life right now who's getting the bookshelf treatment from you? And to the women, you already know. You felt it the second you saw the shelf. You felt it the second the burner dropped. Your intuition was never the problem. The world telling you to ignore it was the problem. Trust the chill that ran down your spine. That chill has a higher PhD than every relationship expert I've quoted today. Every receipt in this video came from Stefon's own posts. We didn't fabricate a thing. The bookshelf told on him. The burner told on him. The dice told on him. The caption told on him. The styling told on him. All we did was zoom in and read what he already published. That's not gossip, that's literacy. If Stefon didn't want to be read, he shouldn't have written. Cardi will see this. The world already has. And the next post Stefon drops? Already loading. Stay nosy. Stay observant. Stay loving. Bye for now, y'all. And remember, when a man's shelf is louder than his actions, the shelf is the lie. Watch the actions. Always the actions.